Everybody, come on in because we are going to be talking about Married at First Sight, season 15. And this is the after party, y'all, for episode 15. But first up, like I always do, I want to thank y'all for showing up and coming here and listening to me here today. I appreciate it. Whether you are new, first time listener, or whether you are coming back because you heard one of my videos before. Thank you for coming back. I do appreciate that as well. And definitely always want to give a shout out to my subscribers and the people who support me week in and week out, to my VIP members. And like always, I always ask, help me along, help my channel along. That if you like the video, please like it. If you want to subscribe. I always tell people, I don't get mad if you turn off my alerts. I don't mind. If you silence some of my little calls coming in, you ain't gotta do all that, but do subscribe if you can, because it actually helps my channel on YouTube. And then also comment, because I actually just like talking to people, y'all. I just wanted to be getting up here talking to myself on the camera. I really do like talking to you guys, so I really do love reading your comments. And if you notice, I pretty much respond to everyone, because it really is one of my favorite parts of doing these videos, is talking to all of you. And I want to give a kudos and shout out to my listening audience, because y'all are smart. Let me tell you, you guys be coming up with some good stuff down in the comments. You share parts of your life with me. You share parts of your own stories with me. And I really do enjoy reading it, listening to what you have to say, and learning and growing from all of you as well. So that's just a roundabout thank you to everybody. But let's go ahead and get into this after party video for Married at First Sight. So the people on the show for the after party ended up being Miguel, which I'm happy about, because we got some things to talk about with Miguel after this last episode with his terrible twos. So we had Miguel, you had Mitch, and then we had the guest. I think her name is Mary. I guess she does the podcast, and she does the podcast with the lady that was on a few weeks ago. Her name was Sarah. So they got a podcast. I don't know the name of the podcast. I forget. But first up, Keisha and I pull in clown Mitch a little bit, said, we see you, you ain't got your toes out. The last time Mitch came on the show, or one of the times, he came with them, recyclable, reusable, something, environmental friendly sandals with his toes out. And I guess he got clowned by everybody. So he said, yeah, he has learned his lesson. He put on some real shoes that covered all his feet and all his toes, and that laced up. But the drink of the day, they always have a drink of the day. The drink of the day was called A Rocky Road to the Decision Day, because a lot of these people, they are stumbling to the finish line. You got horses that was out the gate real fast and real good, like the Lindy Miguels. And let me tell you, they can barely make it around the turn and make it to the finish line. They are limping to the finish line. And then you have other couples like Mitch, who started off horribly sluggish. But, they picked up a little steam. And so they're doing a little bit better. And then you have, of course, Alexis and Justin. Be honest with you, they're kind of almost like a horse that broke the leg, and call the race. They're not even going to get to the finish line. I don't even know why they're still here, because they might as well be like Ben and Morgan. They ain't no real couple no more. They just on here trying to get to the end. They're not no real couple, not at all. But anyway, they started with the first clip. Oh, well, let me go back. The Rocky Road to Decision Day. It ended up being whiskey, Rocky Road ice cream, some milk, and I had a couple other things. I missed writing it down, y'all, but it sounded good. And when they took a sip of it, they said it was good. It tastes like a dessert. So it's probably one of them dessert liqueurs, that you have after dinner. You sip on that, and it's almost like you drinking your dessert. Y'all done that before where you drink your dessert, Amarillos and all that? Um, so anyway, the first thing they did was they started showing the clip with Lindy at the baseball park, following up from the end of last episode where she's at the baseball park and she's crying and she's talking to Mitch and she's crying and she's talking to Nate and Alexis, and everybody is coddling her and agreeing with her and telling her, yeah, you're right, girl. He need to accept you as you are and all this. This part of the problem with Lindy, and that no one has really confronted her in her life, and told her she needs to grow the heck up. It's part of the problem, why she is the way she is. And and thinking about, when I tell you that my audience is so smart, there are a lot of people down in the comments who have picked up very early on that this issue going on with Lindy might be more of a mental health illness. And I'm not, like ADHD, something. Everybody got different theories, but it's somewhere along there. And I'm agreeing with y'all. And maybe that's why she was so desperate for this health care. Maybe she wasn't trying to get this health care just so she can go to the doctor and get a pap smear. Maybe what she recognized was she needs some mental health care and she needs benefits to get mental health care. Now, if she had said that at the beginning, if she said, you know what, can you put me on your health care because I got a mental health problem and I need some mental health care and it will really help me to have health care. I might have felt a different way about Lindy. I might have felt a different way because I think then she would have been being honest and truthful. And, and nothing wrong with helping a person when they come to you expressing that they have a need. But the problem with Lindy is Lindy doesn't come with any type of humility or coming expressing a need or any type of gratitude. She always walks in the room puffed up with entitlement. And that's part of the thing that I don't like about Lindy. Lindy's complaints always centered around what she needs, what she wants, what she's entitled to, what's best for her. It really is, like I say in my video on her, she's a 2-year-old. She's like a child with a temper tantrum, and she uses these behavioral outbursts to control you and to get what she wants. And I think it really is manipulative. And if you watch my video, one of the things I started talking about with Miguel this episode was he's at his wit's end on how to control Lindy. He doesn't know. He wants to control it. He wants to stop it. And right now, the tactic he's using to threaten her is not working. He's trying to use threats so that she'll stop doing what she's doing and she'll tamper it down. But the problem is Miguel cannot follow through on any of his threats. He's like the parent who threatens the kids over and over. And after a while, the kid realizes that the parent really isn't going to do anything. And so they actually just tend to get worse and worse. And when Miguel was on this after party and he saw that scene of what happened, and he also saw the way he was treating Lindy, he said he felt bad. Okay, so he's almost just like the parent that after you threaten your child and you know that probably wasn't the best parenting technique you used, now you feel guilty. So now what you're doing is you're taking ownership for what you did, and maybe you didn't use the right parenting technique, but you still haven't gotten to the fact that you got a badass child. So although you're working on yourself, you're working on your techniques, the problem is the child is still going off and doing what they're doing. You're trying to get better, but the child still hasn't been corrected or anything. So he talked about how he felt guilty. What else was he talking about? He was saying that it broke his heart. He was sad. And you saw that even the last episode when they were getting into it, and Miguel, he was crying too. He was talking bad to Lindy and really at his wit's end, but he was crying. It's almost like the parent, back in the day, parents be spanking their kids and then they would go in the room and cry because they felt so bad about spanking their kids, but they just didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle these kids, and that's what they did. And that's Miguel. Miguel has parental remorse, parental guilt, because he really is dealing with a 2-year-old and he doesn't know how to handle her. And he is making a lot of mistakes on how to handle her. But Miguel needs some help. I don't know where the experts are. Where are the experts to call them in to help Miguel? I know he's got a PhD, and so maybe they think he's good on his own. But Miguel needs some help because this little thing going on with Lindy has been going on for a long time. And if you really start to listen to Lindy's story of her childhood and how, she was in the church, she was controlled. I think that her parents tried to use the church to control Lindy because Lindy was already bad. See, Lindy is trying to tell us that the church came first in controlling her, and now she's rebelling. But what I actually believe happened with Lindy is that Lindy was a bad child from the beginning. And it could go back to what a lot of my subscribers and viewers are saying, that Lindy might have been born with a condition, ADHD, something. And it was never diagnosed as a mental issue. And people have been using different techniques to control Lindy's bad behavior. And maybe her parents used religion. They might have said, my child is out of control. She needs Jesus. And we need to get her in the church so that maybe the church religion and their rules can control Lindy, because we can't. I think they tried to use the church, because when you start hearing Lindy, how Lindy moved out and lived with her boyfriend when she was in high school, that's a person making decisions for themselves because they don't want to follow rules. They don't want to be controlled. It's the same speech she is giving Miguel here in her adulthood. And when you hear Lindy in the speech she uses, talking about she wants to unload on Miguel. If Lindy was a child in a school and a child was walking around the campus talking about, I want to unload on somebody, they would pull her into the office and they would do an investigation on her, because that type of speech is crazy to listen to. When someone tells you they want to be able to unload on you and act crazy and do whatever they want. And that was exactly what Lindy was telling that friend of hers when she was sitting up there crying and bawling. But Lindy has this way of convincing other people that she's the victim. And when all you see is her tears and her emotional state, you can start thinking that she's the victim. But actually, Lindy has probably been victimizing a lot of people out here in her life, a lot of people, because the relationship she's describing that she wants with Miguel is actually a relationship of abuse. She wants to be able to verbally and emotionally abuse Miguel, and she wants him to be able to take it. And then what she wants to do is she wants to be able to basically hold any her responsibility hostage for gifts from Miguel. She's very transactional. And so what she tells Miguel is, if you want certain behavior from me or something different from me, you got to give me something. She's very, very transactional with Miguel. If you listen to her, and I'm telling you, that's a lot like an entitled child. That's how children behave, that you got to buy their cooperation. You know, it's like when a parent has to give kids candy so the kids will behave. Parents got to give kids money. Parents have to buy the cooperation of the child so that the child doesn't just create chaos in the house, at school, and different places. And Lindy's learned this over time. Lindy has learned that this behavior has worked for her, that if she makes a big enough kerfuffle, wails her arms enough, cries enough, eventually people give in to her. And Miguel loves Lindy. And on this after party, he said that he ain't gonna leave Lindy. He loves Lindy. And he's saying every time something goes down, Miguel goes back and he comes back with how it was all his fault. He reacted wrongly, and Lindy was absolutely correct. If you ever listen to Miguel, in the moment, he has his feelings, but after a while, Lindy's so good at her manipulation that by the time he comes back, he believes it's all his fault. He needs to be the one that makes all the changes, and he's just happy. Lindy got him coming back, saying to himself, I'm just happy Lindy stuck around, because that's what he talked about. He was talking about how he was having a bad mental health day, and he wasn't able to do both. He wasn't able to soothe his emotions and Lindy's at the same time. So what happened was he was out of gas. He was flooded. And like he said, it was like drinking from a water hose. He's flooded. I remember someone used that analogy with me. One of my girlfriend used it. And she said, it's almost asking for a drink of water, but instead of someone giving you a drink of water, they put a fire hose down your throat. And that visual makes you realize you are just overwhelmed. And Miguel is overwhelmed by Lindy's emotions, because Miguel in his own right, he's emotional. So he's probably got to use a lot of his own strength to even control his own emotions. So now he's being tasked with not only controlling his emotions, but calming down a 2-year-old. And I think Miguel is overwhelmed. And he loves Lindy. But I'm telling you, she needs some mental health counseling. So maybe it is a good thing she's on his health benefits, but he needs to make it a stipulation, not that she just goes and get a physical exam or some dental work or a pap smear. He needs to make it a requirement that she goes and gets some mental health counseling and some diagnosis, because Lindy's got something. I know all you experts down and listen to me. Drop down in the comments and you could diagnose Lindy, because some of y'all come through with some good diagnosis, and I am believing that. But Mitch was saying, you know what? It's interesting to watch Miguel and Lindy as a couple, because in the beginning they were described as the perfect couple, and he said they were so perfect that they had to throw a whole fake baby at them just to get them to bring out some of this. Well, I think it was more about throwing the fake baby. I think the producer saw that Lindy was a baby, and they wanted to show Miguel that, look, your wife is just like this fake baby we're about to throw at you. She's a baby. That's why I said, when he was taking care of Miguel, he was taking care of two children. He was taking care of Lindy, and he was taking care of McGindy. I think everybody sees that Lindy is a 2-year-old. The producers see it. I see it. You see it. But Miguel with the PhD, he's so clouded right now by his love of Lindy. He keeps thinking that her outburst, that he is somehow exasperating her outburst. And the truth of the matter is, Lindy is just like a Kristen. Kristen tried to come in here and act like it was Mitch who made her insecure, that she came in a very secure person, and because Mitch was who he was, and because he told her in the beginning he wasn't attracted to her, he made her insecure. No, she was insecure before she got here. And the same thing is going on with Lindy. Lindy was a 2-year-old with behavioral problems before she got to here in this marriage with Miguel. And her marriage is exposing it even more. Miguel is not the cause of her outburst. He might be shining a light on it, and he might not be treating it the way he should or doing it perfectly. Well, who could? Because who's used to dealing with a 37-year-old, or however Lindy is, 32-year-old or whatever, who really is a 2-year-old? This is ridiculous, y'all. And then they showed that clip, about when Miguel was like, I gave you health care. I gave you my health card. Are you going to change your name now? And Lindy told him, no, I'm a hyphenated. That's the best I'm going to do. But Lindy made sure she told Miguel, first of all, I want you to know that whatever I do for my last name is for you. It's not for me. And what she's saying is, I'm going to want something in return. Because Lindy, like I said, is transactional. Lindy wants you to buy her cooperation. This is why she talks about health care, paying student loans, paying off debt, not having to work, you take care of the kid. All of this is payment for her cooperation, right? Well, she says, buy my health care, give me health care, and I'll do something for you. Pay my bills, I'll do something for you. Do this, I'll do something for you. I'm telling you, Lindy is like a 2-year-old, and in this case of paying her bills, she sounds like a teenager, where a teenager wants to live in your house as an adult, do what he or she wants to do, live by her own rules, talk to you any kind of way, but then they want to come to you and ask you for some money to go to the movies or buy them a new outfit. They want to have the liberties of an adult and make their own decisions, but they want you to take care of them like a child. And that's Lindy. Lindy wants to fall out like a 2-year-old, have temper tantrums, and then she wants to come to her daddy, Miguel, and ask for things. But then she doesn't want you to have any type of request from her, any type of boundaries, any type of expectations for her, because she wants to live in your house, do what she wants to do, how she wants to do it, when she wants to do it, talk to you any kind of way, and you're supposed to take it, because as a teenager says, are you my mama? You my daddy. That's what a teenager does to you. You're my parents. You my mother. You supposed to do this. You shouldn't have had me. If you didn't want to do these things, you shouldn't have had me. You owe me. Okay, this is what Lindy does. She uses the same tactics. Lindy is mentally stunted. She is emotionally stunted in a 2-year-old and also a teenager stage. And in the end, Miguel bid on it. He drank the Kool-Aid of Lindy, like a tall glass of red Kool-Aid with all that sugar in it. And he said, you know what? In the end, he said probably he handled the wrong way and he should have just leaned into it. I guess he said he should just let her say what she wanted to say. And he said he needs to trust Lindy more and lean into it. And in the end, he should be grateful that Lindy stuck with him after he acted the way he did. Like I said, that's like a teenager saying, I'm God's gift to you. You the one that wanted a child. So now that I'm here, you got to put up whatever I dish out. This girl, she a professional. Lindy been doing this a long time. And you can see the reaction from her friend. Her friend looked like she'd been here before too. Her friend was not shocked when Lindy was acting a fool. Her friend was looking like, this is par from the course. I've seen this plenty of times, over and over and over again. And she's like, this ain't nothing new. And these friends like, well, good luck, Miguel. Good luck. But then they went ahead and they switched to Mitch, and they switched over to Mitch because, you know, Mitch was putting his foot in his mouth and he dealing with his insecure wife. And, you know, he ain't making it no better. He is not making it any better because, like I said in my video, Mitch speaks the truth and Kristen cannot handle the truth, not one bit. Kristen running around here thinking everybody want her man. Nobody want her man. Nobody wants her man. Mitch has been on the market for a very long time. And I don't know all of a sudden why Kristen thinks that all of a sudden now women are going to be walking down the street trying to snatch up Mitch. Girl, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You can leave him out on the porch for about a week. Ain't nobody coming to steal him from you. But anyway, Mitch was saying that he is honest to a fault. Like I said, Mitch is learning. One thing I like about Mitch is Mitch is learning a little bit every single episode. And what's ironic about this, my viewing of Mitch and Kristen, to be honest with y'all, I really just couldn't stand Mitch in the beginning. And I felt sorry for Kristen. But as time started going on, I'm telling you, things started happening with Kristen. I was like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. And if you watch my videos, I started honing in on it. And you know, a lot of people disagree with me, but I'm sticking to my guns with Kristen. And a lot of things about Kristen is she needs a lot of public recognition and she needs a lot of public praise, and it's exhausting. So part of this thing about Mitch and this ring and Mitch not wearing this ring to his so-called retreat, I see it two ways. I see Mitch's side, which he wasn't fully honest with it, but he talked about it more in the episode. And what he said was he's socially awkward. Bingo. We all know that about Mitch. And Mitch is socially awkward, and the way he deals with his social awkwardness is sometimes things come out of his mouth that are unfiltered and they sound harsh and mean. And if you're an insecure person like Kristen, you're going to get hurt by Mitch's words because he really hasn't had a time to process his feelings in a more of a healthy way. And so what Mitch was feeling when he didn't wear that ring on his trip to the corporate retreat was he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed to say that I'm so desperate I had to go on a married at first sight to find a wife. Now that's putting it in a bad way. I don't think he should be embarrassed because I don't think anything's wrong with coming on the show, but that's how Mitch felt. Mitch was embarrassed. Mitch was embarrassed that he's the 41-year-old loser, 42, however old he is, that hasn't been with no woman in 5 years, haven't had sex in a couple of years, and he had to go on married at first sight to find a woman. And the last thing Mitch wanted to do was to be talking about this at a corporate retreat where everybody's talking about him being on married at first sight. So what he did was he decided not to wear his ring, so it wouldn't become a topic of conversation. And who knows, not that many people at work may not even know he is on this show because they're supposed to keep it a secret. But Kristen, she doesn't understand that because Kristen is all about public praise and recognition. And what Kristen looked at that was you're not praising me in public. I need you to go to your job and tell everybody how you married to the most wonderful woman in the world. That's what Kristen was worried about. Public praise. That's what she's always worried about. How does she look in front of her sister? How does she look in front of her mother? How does she look in front of Alexis? Because it seems like she cares a lot about what Alexis thinks, and I don't know why. But she sure does care about Alexis's opinion a little bit too much. Kristen is always worried about her public persona, her public image. And Mitch isn't often good for her public persona because sometimes he says things that doesn't make her look good and she doesn't like it. So when Mitch starts talking about, there was, it was the after party in the hotel lobby and he's singing to the R. Kelly song. You know what R. Kelly is, Mitch? He's in jail. So you might not want to be referencing too many of his songs. It was a hit though. I ain't gonna lie. We all danced to it. We know we did. We danced to that song. We danced. And some of y'all are still playing R. Kelly music in the privacy of your own home. I know he banned from the radio, but he being played in a lot of homes still because some of them R. Kelly songs was a hit. He a terrible man, but let me tell you, them songs was a hit. But now that we know what's behind some of them songs, it is kind of creepy. But anyway, so they called him out on singing, and my bitch was like, shoot, I danced that song back when I was young. But like I said, Mitch, his timing is off. He tries to be funny, but he's like a comedian. The timing is off. Sometimes the joke is sometimes a little bit too creepy. And like they said, sometimes it's a lot of Mitchisms. But one of the things they also talked about was when he was talking about, well, there's a lot of beach bays at the beach. And see, this is also what I was talking about when Mitch was talking about that Kristen isn't attractive. And I know a lot of people say Kristen's attractive. She's a beautiful woman and she's pretty. I get all that. But one of the things I understood about Mitch, because I'm in California and I go to San Diego quite often and I live in Southern California. And it is true. There are a lot of beautiful women in Southern California. And especially in Orange County, San Diego. Let me tell you, Orange County is the darn near capital of plastic surgery in Orange County. So I knew a lot of times when Mitch was talking about the looks of Kristen, part of it was he was contrasting his experience, saying how he likes a natural woman, because a lot of women down in Orange County and that city, they have a lot of plastic surgery. They got fake boobs, fake a lot of stuff. And I think Mitch sees a lot of that at the beach, on the beach bombshells. And he was comparing Kristen to the so-called beach bombshells, and he was saying, I don't like women with a whole lot of fake stuff. And because he sees a lot of that. And so when he was, when Kristen kept wanting him to tell her she was beautiful, he said, wait a minute, I don't know if you're beautiful, because I see a lot of beautiful women, but you're pretty, you're attractive. But that was never good enough for Kristen. Kristen needed to be told that she was she was a supermodel. That's what Kristen wants to hear. And even when you hear in this episode recently, she says, I want to be told that she's the most desirable, most beautiful person in the world, and that he can't live his life without her. Kristen needs the constant public praise, and Mitch isn't the one to always give her that. So when he's talking about how he didn't wear his ring, and he's making all these jokes, he's talking about, yeah, but and he's saying, yeah, but Nate gave me a different kind of ring. Those jokes were not funny. They were cringeworthy. And you could tell he was awkward when he was telling the Kristen. And I don't know why she didn't realize it was fake. And this idea that he was in a hot tub with a bunch of women having an orgy. And she's so insecure, she bought into all of it. And on the after party, Mitch is explaining, listen, I'm not even that type of guy. He says, Kristen knows there's no way I would cheat on her. I'm not even that type of guy that would do that. And I know he's not that type of guy because history tells me he's not that type of guy. This man ain't even been in a relationship in 5 years. And he said he hasn't had sex in a couple of years. So why all of a sudden now is he going to be the guy that goes on a corporate retreat, having sex with coworkers in a hot tub? Kristen's imagination was just running wild. It was so ridiculous. But one of the things he said he is learning from Kristen is pointing out the error of his ways. He's learning that he needs to control his mouth more. And what he's also learning is he's learning how to lie. Okay, he didn't call it a lie, but he's learning, he's saying, sometimes I don't need to say everything. And that's what he's getting to, because I told everybody, when you can't handle the truth, people just learn to lie around you. And what Mitch is learning to do is he's learning to lie to Kristen. So when Kristen says, do you think I'm beautiful? He says, yes. When Kristen asked him, did you just sit around and miss me the whole time? He said, yeah, I sat around and I missed you the whole time. He's just going to start lying to her because he realizes she can't handle the truth when he says things like, yeah, I love being married, which I think he does. I love my life with you. I love taking Luna for a walk. I love coming home and talking to you. I love having dinner with you. He says, but there's also some things I miss about my single life. And then Kristen can't handle that part. She can't handle that truth end of it. She just wants to hear the part about loving her, loving Luna, loving coming home and talk to her. She doesn't want to get to know the other side. Kristen doesn't really want to know the whole Mitch. She doesn't want to know the whole Mitch. She only wants to know a part of Mitch. And I'm telling you, this might be a problem because I don't think Mitch is going to be able to live constantly in a world where he can't be himself. And what Kristen tells Mitch every time he tries to be a little bit of himself is she tells him, I can't handle any part of the real Mitch. I can't handle any part of the real Mitch, none of it whatsoever. All I can handle is the Mitch that sits around and praises me in public. That's all Kristen can handle. And even though Mitch is making improvements, I don't know if Mitch is going to be able to make enough improvements that Kristen feels safe and secure in the relationship, because I think she has so many insecurities. And what she does, what Kristen doesn't realize is the man that she really is asking for is a liar. She's asking for a man to always never be honest with her, just tell her the things she wants to hear. And that's probably why she didn't know that ex-husband or ex-fiance was cheating on her for 6 months, because Kristen never wants to hear the truth. She probably doesn't want to hear when people are not happy in a relationship. She doesn't want to hear it. It's too hard for her to listen to. So people start lying to her, or they just stop talking to her altogether. Kristen got some baggage. She tries to sit around and act like Mitch is the only one with baggage. Kristen has a lot of baggage of bringing into this relationship, and it can hamper her future in having a happy relationship. It really can. But Mitch is talking about he loves a new life being married to Kristen. He said right now he's just trying to reconcile the two worlds, his married life and single life. He's saying that Kristen checks a lot of the boxes off that he wants. And he said, but one of the things he is looking at, he's saying he is evaluating whether or not, I'm going to paraphrase it, he can do better. Mitch is looking about, can he do better? And it sounds harsh, but once again, I think he speaks his truth, but he might come up with the answer that he can't do better. I think Mitch is going to come to the conclusion that there are some things he doesn't like about Kristen, and he's going to say, but can I do better? And he's going to come up with a big fat no, because the truth of the matter is, even with all the things Kristen baggage she has, she is a good catch for Mitch, because there's not too many people who would even put up with Mitch either way anyway. And so he can't do that much better. He better try to make it work with Kristen. He better try to make it work with her, because he can't do that much better. Not at all. But then they pan to the little clip of with Justin and Alexis. When Justin is talking about he feels played by Alexis, and when he was texting Alexis asking for confirmation in the marriage, because now I think he was having remorse of giving his dog away. And so he was asking for Alexis some confirmation that he did the right thing. I think that's what he was like, did I do the right thing in giving my dog away? And he was trying to do it through text message. And I think Miguel and Mitch both said that probably wasn't the best way to have the conversation. But Justin was all up in his feelings and he had to get it out. He texted it. It wasn't the right conversation to have over a text. And Miguel and Mitch both said, you know what, he probably should have waited to have that conversation in person, which I agree with, but it probably wouldn't have made no difference. You know, Alexis is who she is. She doesn't have much empathy for Justin. And to me, I think she did a horrible job in managing his emotions. And when it came to him giving his dog away, and I talk about it in the video, you can watch my video on that, but I think she did a horrible job. I think there was a much better solution besides permanently rehoming his dog to somebody else way in Colorado. I thought that was a bit much, especially at this stage of the relationship when their relationship is rocky. It is rocky. Talk about rocky road. That absolutely exemplifies the relationship with Alexis and Justin. It is a rocky road. But Mitch and Miguel talked about that of all the couples, the two of them, they kind of hang out the most, that they double date the most. Lindy and Miguel double date with Kristen and Mitch a lot. And then Kristen and Mitch also double date with Alexis and Justin, which I don't know. I wouldn't be double dating with Alexis. Mitch probably need to keep his wife away from Alexis. She is bad news. She already broke up one whole marriage. But they probably need to stay away from Alexis and Justin. You see Nate and Stasha, stay away from Alexis and Justin. They don't hang out with Alexis and Justin that much, not at all. So it sounds as if Miguel and Lindy, they possibly hang out. They hang out with Mitch and Kristen. They didn't mention that they hang out with Alexis and Justin, and they didn't mention they hang out with Nate and Stasha. So, you know, Kristen, she's very social. She likes to be out. Kristen likes to not only tell her business to lots of people, and as you are starting to hear, Kristen is a social butterfly. She likes to want to be hanging out with Lindy. She likes to hang out with Alexis, and she likes to tell her business to these women. And that's why she gets her feelings hurt a lot, because she's too busy over here trying to get public recognition and praise from a bunch of people. I'm telling you, Kristen is really starting to irk me in a lot of areas, y'all. She really is. Really, she is. But then they showed that little episode with Lindy going off again with her friend, and her friend having that little scrunched up face, dealing with her friend, talking about, oh, I'm so tired of my friend. I'm so tired of my girlfriend. I couldn't be Lindy's friend. Lindy couldn't be my friend. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say I couldn't be Lindy's friend. Lindy couldn't be my friend, because there'd be no way I sit up there and listen to that story from Lindy, and I would not be able to tell my friend, who I love and care about, I said, girl, oh, you sound crazy when you say you want to be able to scream and yell at your husband and unload on him and act a little crazy. I would be like, girl, you sound crazy. I mean, you could tell me that, but you need to not try to live that life. That ain't a good life. You need to do something about that, because that's called uncontrolled emotional behavior. Something wrong with that. But anyway, once again, Miguel took the heat, and he apologized for the way he treated Lindy, and he said he was so hurt, or he hurt Lindy. Y'all, he said, hurt people are hurt people. Well, that is a good saying, and it is true. But you could say that about your wife. Lindy is hurt, and she hurts you. Here we go. Miguel is taking all of the blame for Lindy's bad behavior. It's starting to look like what Ben did with Morgan, when Ben constantly apologized, said he was sorry, and no one ever addressed Morgan's bad behavior. And now we are seeing it with Lindy. And when I think back to when Pastor Cal had the one-on-one with Lindy, he tried to get Miguel to say, why can't you just accept her level 4? If level 4 is all it is, you should just accept it. You should accept it. And this is what they try to do to Ben. Ben should just accept Morgan. And I think this is a wrong message, because it's constantly giving women a pass. Men have to learn to deal with these women, and the women just to get to do whatever the heck they want to do out here. And the truth of the matter is, Lindy don't even want to stay at a level 4, Pastor Cal. It ain't just accepting a level 4, because what Lindy has told us in this episode over and over again, level 4 ain't good enough. Level 4 is where she's been, and that's why she's still frustrated. If Lindy was okay at being in level 4, she wouldn't be all out of wits right now. What Lindy is telling you is, I am bottling up inside so much emotion. She wants to burst. She wants to unload. She wants to act crazy. Lindy wants to go to a level 10. So even though, Pastor Cal is telling Miguel to accept a level 4 and be happy with a level 4, what he doesn't realize is Lindy ain't even happy with a level 4. Lindy is not happy staying at a level 4. She's telling everybody she wants to ramp this shit up. She wants to go full throttle. Full throttle. Both of these men are learning. They saying it's hard being a husband. It's hard being a husband. They're starting to see their shortcomings. It is hard being a husband, especially when you're trying to learn a new person, and you're also learning about yourself, because Miguel and Mitch going through growth. Their wives are going through growth, and marriage is hard. Now I guess people understand why the divorce rate is 50%, because marriage is difficult. It ain't easy. It is not easy. But Mitch said he's learning that some of his behavior was quite selfish. He said it's good to look back at himself. And like I said, these after parties are filmed way after decision day. But Mitch is doing a lot of growth. He's doing a lot of growth. But honest with you, I'm not quite sure the growth is going to be enough for Kristen. And to be honest with you, I used to think that Kristen should say no to Mitch. Because I think in the beginning, I didn't see a lot of the shortcomings with Kristen. I was probably giving her more credit than I should have. But let me tell you, she might need to try to keep Mitch herself, because Kristen has some things about her that are undesirable on the dating market. And all this assurance and public praise that she needs constantly, that's going to get on a lot of men's nerves. It's going to get on a lot of men's nerves, because people don't want to always be your fan club. And it seems like the only time Kristen is happy is when Mitch is her fan club. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what's going to happen on decision day. Like I said in my video, I think it's going to be 2 no's from Justin. I can't see it. On this here, we can pretty much tell Miguel said he is saying yes no matter what. He said pretty much nothing. He pretty much said in this episode, there's not anything that Lindy could even do for him to not say yes to her own decision day. So he's probably definitely going to be a yes. And we already know that Lindy's going to be a yes because she's got more stuff to get from Miguel. She's a child. She's a teenager. And there's more things that she needs from him. And so her game plan is going to be to get as much as she can from Miguel and to threaten him with outbursts, going to level 10 and tantrums until she gets what she wants. So she absolutely, I believe, will say yes as well. Kristen and Mitch, I don't know what's going to happen between them, to be honest with you. I don't know if in the end, Kristen is going to say yes to Mitch. I think Mitch is going to say yes, though, because I think he likes married life. I think Mitch likes enough about Kristen to try to give it more time after decision day. We already see previews where he tells her that he loves her and he doesn't want to lose her. And I think that that's going to get a yes out of Mitch. But I don't know if Kristen is going to be able to get over the fact that, he doesn't think she's as beautiful as the beach babes walking along the beach. Because Kristen absolutely needs to be able to believe she's a supermodel and that she's the most beautiful one in the world. She's the most funny person in the world. She's the most everything in the world. She wants to win all the awards. Just like that prom, Kristen needs to win all the awards. Best comedian, best rapper, best everything. She's competitive. She likes to win. Even when they were playing this little ping pong game with Mitch and Alexis and Justin, she was like, oh, you won, but you didn't win by much. See, Kristen she got to be top dog. She got to be a top dog. But anyway, that's it, y'all. What do you think about the after party? Drop down the comments. I said a lot this time. Let me know your comments. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. And there's some videos here you can watch of the other couples. Please go ahead and watch my other videos. And I'll see y'all down in the comments. Talk to you later. Bye.